Michael, topic number one of the show's got to be one of the biggest this year.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox won't have exclusives going forward, it's been claimed. Tom Ivan, BGC. The days of Xbox exclusives are reportedly numbered. That's according to Windows Central executive editor Jez Corden, who discussed his understanding of Microsoft's first-party strategy in a series of X posts over the weekend. Quote, Xbox won't have exclusives going forward. Everything is timed exclusive at most. End quote, he claimed. Quote, if some games are exclusive, it's going to be incidental at best. The case-by-case argument is by and large going to be multi-plat, timed, and maybe a few, very few outliers, end quote, Corden later added. And responding to a user who said that they didn't believe Xbox's upcoming Fable game would come to PlayStation, Corden wrote, quote, that game was monstrously expensive. It might not be day one, but it will come with the current plan in place, in my opinion, end quote. Xbox first announced in February plans to bring a wave of games to PlayStation and Nintendo in what appeared to be a significant change of strategy, starting with Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded. Later, Microsoft announced Doom: The Dark Ages for Xbox. We picked up on that one, Michael, through a trailer thanks to PlayStation. Will be coming to the Xbox Series X and S, PC, and PS5, and confirmed that a PS5 version of Indiana Jones will be released later next year. Last month, Microsoft's gaming CEO Phil Spencer reiterated that the company won't rule out any first-party Xbox game potentially coming to rival platforms such as PlayStation and Nintendo in the future. Matt Booty, Microsoft's president of game content and studios, also told Variety this month, quote, we are very much making the exclusivity and window decisions on a game-by-game basis. Each of our studios is in a bit of a different position. Quote, there's also the production timeline on the game, so the decision on spacing comes there first. We want to make sure that's there's a great experience for our Xbox players, and then the gap between when it becomes available on PlayStation is as much a production decision as it is anything else. End quote. Michael, Scott and I were talking about this last night too, as we were hanging out and we're playing games and stuff. It's all about Game Pass, dude. They no longer really care about the Xbox platform. We've been saying this for months. They're moving away. They're becoming Sega, essentially, right? They're not getting out of the hardware business, but they're definitely going third party now, even if they are staying timed. Fable, guarantee you, will be on PlayStation 5. Dude, to say those words, unfathomable that I am speaking Fable will come to the PlayStation 5. At what point does the Chief make it there too?
Oh man, we gotta have another Chief game first, right? I know there's one in the works, but I think it is, right? It really feels like basically anything on Xbox is going to go to PlayStation, and the only ones that won't, I would assume, will be small studio games that come out on the Xbox and are just like, yeah, we don't have the manpower, we don't have the crew to port this over to the PlayStation, so we're just simply not going to bother. But it feels like, I mean, again, Master Chief's going to fall into the Fable argument, right? The next Master Chief's going to be expensive. They're going to want it on every platform. I think any major Xbox game, you have to assume is now coming out on PlayStation. I remember when Phil Spencer talked about this, I had the feeling that he was almost trying to sort of beg Sony, right? And kind of, he kept trying to say, like, the era of exclusivity is over, right? And it almost felt like he was trying to say, look, we're putting all our stuff on PlayStation, Sony, so how come you aren't putting all your stuff on Xbox, right? He was almost trying to bargain with Sony, is really what it felt like, to say, let's just end exclusivity. We'll put our stuff over here. You put your stuff over there. We'll all be a nice, happy family. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. Sony has no need to do that. But Xbox has already decided we're going to do it. As you said, you've talked about it a bunch. They are now, your exclusive for Xbox is Game Pass. That is what your exclusive is. And I mean, it's a hell of an exclusive if you think about it, right? Indiana Jones in the Lost Circle, right? $20 to play it day one, right? You don't have to put down the $60. You can play it day one. Technically, you could beat it in a month, cancel Game Pass, boom, you save $40, right? That is where, and well, we'll see how long it stays at $20, right? That just price just keeps going up and up. But yeah, that's your new exclusive for your Xbox guy, which begs the question: when there's PC Game Pass, why ever buy an Xbox, right? You get a PC, you get PC Game Pass, you get all the Xbox games you could want, and then you get a PlayStation, you get all the exclusives like Astrobot. I really could see in that next generation, because right now the PS5 is already kind of, I think it's 2-to-1, 3-to-1 the Xbox sales. I could see that number going 4-to-1, 5-to-1, as people are going to say, why do I want to buy an Xbox when everything on Xbox comes to PlayStation and Game Pass is on PC?
I find it's an interesting strategy. The competition here is where I get concerned, right? PlayStation iterates to push the systems and the consoles forward because they have competition on the Xbox. Nintendo is there too, granted, right? I'll give you that. Nintendo definitely has their own thing, but they're in their own little pocket within the industry, I would say. But there's still competition at the end of the day. PlayStation is leading the charge, just straight up. Xbox is losing. This is why we see this, right? And it is concerning that if they go away from this and they go into just focusing on Game Pass, then the PlayStation no longer has the competition. Dude, look at NBA 2K, no competition. NHL, no competition. MLB The Show, no competition. Those games feel stale now, day in, day out, year in, year out. Because why? Because there's no competition. PlayStation, I know, loves to iterate and loves to push things forward. But if they don't really have to, why would they? Now, granted, we're getting into that 4K range now. How much further can you push technology to then get into 8K, 12K? Does anybody care, right? I think our biggest concern right now is getting at 120 frames per second. That's the push, right? Not even 60. We can't even reach 60 in half of our games right now. That's the push forward. I feel like Xbox is starting to take over where Stadia dropped off. But the infrastructure around the world isn't deep enough yet. Like if we're talking about our buddy Scott, his internet is absolutely horrible. You couldn't have him just on Game Pass streaming all the time, right? He's got to be able to download something. But like you say, just download your computer now because you don't need a console anymore. You just have a PC. You can get your stuff while you're there. And for everything else, or if you just want to wait out, you don't even need an Xbox anymore, Michael. You don't need Game Pass either. Eventually, it just makes its way over to PlayStation. You just got to wait a little bit longer, right? So if you're not going to be all in on being on day one, then that's okay. You have a PlayStation. You're going to get some of the best exclusives you will ever play. And then Xbox will bring over Fable.